means
That's
you're.
what-
I got the dirty one from back when I did stuff.
So you put that on when public sees you, right?
Yeah. Good morning.
Morning, we'll call the Shell Rock River Watershed District monthly board meeting September 10th, 2024 to order. Leah, please call roll.
Manager Buchan.
Aye.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager Perry. Manager Pasuski.
Aye.
Manager Lee.
Aye.
Manager DeBoer.
Aye. Item number 2, public hearing 2025 administrative levy, debt service levy, liability insurance levy, administrative and project fund budgets. Now opening public hearing, all comments by proponents or opponents or the public shall be made from the podium. Please give your name and address as required because an official record of the public hearing is being made. Please note comments are limited to 3 minutes. These rules are intended to promote an orderly system of holding public hearings to give every person an opportunity to be heard and to ensure that no individual is embarrassed by exercising the individual's right to free speech. It is not necessary to be a proponent or opponent in order to speak. If you consider yourself neither a proponent or opponent, please speak during the proponent portion and identify yourself as neither a proponent or opponent. No comment shall be made from any other location, and anyone making out of order comments may be subject to removal from the meeting. There's no demonstrations during or at the conclusion of anyone's presentation. Would anyone like to speak? Second time, would anyone like to speak? Third and final time, would anyone like to speak? Hearing none, the public hearing is now closed. Thank you for your comments. Move on to number 3, public forum. Anybody speak?
John, you have anything?
Well, yeah, you know, I'm just gonna say on behalf of the taxpayers, they would love it if you guys would exercise fiscal restraint. So we have a tremendous debt load in this country. That's about it,
Would you like to say council on that?
yes. Absolutely.
Move on to number 4, approval of agenda. Any additions, corrections, or deletions?
Yes, Mr. Chair, just a couple corrections, under item 8, administrator items. I just want to change motion to approve 2025 preliminary administrative levy, preliminary debt service levy, preliminary liability insurance levy. Again, for those that don't know, this is a preliminary amount that we're setting. And then again, in December, we actually set the final amount. So again, this is just preliminary.
Can't be more.
Correct.
We can go over.
It can be,
Yeah, we can.
So
Someone else just second since you're chair.
I thought we didn't have that motion. We do one motion. Got a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Number 5, consent agenda. The following items will be acted upon without discussion in accordance with the staff recommendation and associated documents, unless a manager requests opportunity for discussion. A, minutes of the August 6, 2024 Shell River Watershed District regular board meeting. B, August 2024 treasurer's report subject to audit. C, August 2024 project funds treasurer's report subject to audit. D, authorized payment of claim. And E, authorized payments project fund disbursements. Do I have a motion?
I'll have that motion, Mr. Chair.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 6, natural resource technician, Mike Luck.
Not too much to catch up on, but we're gonna continue sampling through the end of the month on the schedule I've been doing and then start compiling data for the summer and hopefully have some stuff for you in the next couple meetings.
Oh, the buoy's been working.
Good. We're getting, live feed every 30 seconds off of those, so it's kind of interesting to watch. You can see fluctuations after rain events and they're a neat tool. We're getting a lot of info off of them.
A good job getting that on our website and getting the buoys out there.
Thank you. They helped me with that too, so
Looks good.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Item number 7, project and program manager, Nico.
Good morning. The first item is a motion to approve a change order for the Bryceland wetland restoration. Funding for this project comes out of our phase 10 of our Lasardi Dams Outdoor Heritage Council Habitat Restoration Program. Now there's 2 projects in this. One was the Pine acquisition that we had just completed a couple months ago. And the second one was this wetland restoration project. So when we originally bid the Bryceland wetland restoration, we knew that there was a potential for there to be extra funds as a result of what available dollar amount we have left in the grant. So now that that closing is complete and we have all kind of final dollars associated with the closing, we want to take the dollar amount that we have left in the grant and put it towards the wetland restoration project. And so that means we're going to get deeper wetland scrapes. We're roughly increasing the cubic yardage, what is listed there, from 6,200 cubic yards to approximately 17,000 cubic yards. It's a pretty significant increase, but again, we're just trying to utilize all available funding that we have so that we fully expend all of those grant funds, and we're getting more holding water potential in the wetland restoration project itself. So just looking to spend all funds and make a bigger wetland restoration. So if you look at the change order, it does say net decrease. It is actually an increase of 66,000 roughly. So total contract is $144,250.60 for the wetland restoration.
Do we have a motion? Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Motion.
Thanks. Next item is resolution 2024-15, initiate Fountain Lake Channel restoration. Again, this is a Lasardi Dams funded project. We have roughly $3 million, a little over $3 million to implement restoration in the channel from the edge of Fountain Lake Dam all the way down to Albert Lee Lake. So we will be working with the city of Albert Lee on this project, along with DNR and all appropriate partners to implement the channel restoration. We know that big projects take a lot of time, so at this point, we're looking at initiating this as a project and looking for engineering in the future. So this is first step of our 103D process, is to initiate the project.
So moved.
Do I have a motion to introduce the resolution? Second.
Second.
Okay, I will read the resolution. Resolution 2024-15, channel restoration project, initiate project 2024-01. Whereas the Shawrock River Watershed District Board of Managers pursues the mission of implementing reasonable and necessary improvements to the water related and other natural resources within its boundaries. Whereas the Shawrock River Watershed District is charged with implementing the Shawrock River Watershed District Watershed Comprehensive Watershed Management Plan. Whereas project goals and objectives set forth in the plan include improve water quality and clarity to district lakes, improve and enhance waterfowl habitat, and restore and stabilize eroding and failing stream banks. Whereas the district has pursued a comprehensive watershed approach to reduce sedimentation and improve water quality, including filter strips, rock inlets, nutrient management systems, wetland restorations, rough fish management practices, installation of fish barriers, septic system inspections, stream bank and ditch restoration projects, and the installation of rain gardens. Therefore, be it hereby resolved that the Shawrock River Watershed District, Section 1, initiates project number 2024-01 Channel Restoration Project. Section 2 authorizes district staff to negotiate appropriate professional services agreements to promote and complete the channel restoration project efforts. And Section 3 authorizes district staff to conduct work as needed to present this project to the board for review and public hearing as required by law, dated September 10th, 2024.
So any discussion?
Well, and I mentioned this before, but when you look at this, hopefully you're looking at some whitewater rafting potential. You know, there's a dam there, and I don't know if this includes dam replacement, but
So this part of the project does not include the dam. It's kind of, dams have been a sticky subject, I would say, with Lessard Sands for being able to fund. So right now, we're just, kind of looking at the channel starting after the dam. I do believe that the city has the intention that at some point in the future, they'll do something with the dam. So we'll be working with them to coordinate maybe when that timeline is. So we don't want to do anything now that'll hinder a dam replacement in the future. But this is a habitat focused project, so we need to keep that in mind. Now, a lot of times habitat does have rock placement as a feature, as a BMP, so there could be the potential, but that's not the main goal at this point.
there's that old railroad trestle down there, is that gonna come out?
We'll look into that. I don't know if the railroad still owns that or if the city owns it at this point in time. I think it would be a lot more difficult if the railroad still had ownership of it, but all things can be
I've done
considered.
nothing for quite a few years and fall apart.
Yep, all good comments to be considered, but this is literally the first step, so we'll be keeping that in mind as we move forward.
Will there be any subcommittees that meet for this project, like our, habitat restoration or fish habitat projects and dredging projects have subcommittees? Will this have?
That is a good point. We don't have a committee listing for this yet, but I will leave it up to Andy if he wants to form a committee or if there is a committee that already would suit the needs to check in and meet regularly once we get an engineer on board.
My assumption, just because this is such a showcase project in downtown, between the two lakes, that we would have a committee. We'd also, that committee would include city staff, park and rec. So yeah, more like the.
Any other discussion? Mayor Paul.
Manager Vaca,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager Besuski,
Alright,
Manager Lee, Manager DeBoer.
Thank you. The last item I have is just some project updates regarding the Bryson Wetland restoration. They started a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, actually. They did the tile reroute, so there was some upstream water sources that were coming in through tile that we did have to provide continuous drainage to. So they completed the tile portion of it, and they are working on the scrapes now. So now they'll be able to expand those scrapes now that that change order is approved. So everything is going good. Soils are good out there, so not having any issues. The bridge access piece is going well. They have a sheet piling in, looks like they were working on the retaining wall. I think they should be getting to concrete soon. Based on the schedule, it looks like they might be slightly ahead of schedule, so all is going well. I haven't heard of anything extra that's happened, so. And then wrapping up with the inlay, JF Brennan has demobilized their equipment. So the placing of material has completed. The only touch-up items that are left are they are going to be resurfacing the parking lot that they used as a staging area. So met with the city last week to go over the areas of the parking lot that needed to be replaced. And then some seating around the area. Otherwise, all in all, project is complete.
Okay, thanks, Gordon. Item number 8, Schrader and DeHenschel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Now on to the fun stuff. Item A is a motion to approve the 2025 preliminary administrative levy and certify the administrative levy to Cleveland County. Again, to note, as I noted earlier, these are preliminary budgets that we are setting at today's meeting. Again, final budgets will be set and sent to the county no later than December 15th. Again, like previously mentioned, we can go down from this levy, but we cannot go up. So again, looking at the admin levy, I know we've sent you guys out a couple different admin levies. Again, looking at a couple different things. Looking at liability insurance for one. And looking also at the earn sick and save time, attendance incentive, so we figured all that in, at this time. So I have two options in front of you, again, right now. Option one, is to increase the admin levy, from 250 to 500,000. Again, if you remember, the district has been set at 250,000 admin levy, since it was established in 2003. So the only increases that the board has ever burdened the taxpayers with is a project fund levy and a liability insurance levy. The liability insurance levy was implemented, I believe, 4 years ago. And that was set at roughly $20,000. And then we had the project levy, which helped us cash flow the dredge project, again, which was at 1.7, I believe. To date, we have roughly 900,000 left to pay on that levy. Right now, the levy payback is set at 166,000, and we pay that twice a year. We have roughly 9 years left on the project levy. So with the admin budget, again, this would be the first time we've ever increased in the 21 years. Our admin levy. Again, right now, what we're looking at in front of us is two options. One, to increase it by 125,000. So admin levy would then be at 375,000. Or increase it to 500,000, which is the max that the legislature set admin levies for rural watershed districts back in 2020. So any questions regarding either one of the admin budgets? I know when you look through it, the biggest changes again are in personnel. Again, most of the travel related, training, office expenses, most of those are similar to what they were. Of course, we've seen increases, of course, in gas and electric. We've seen increases, of course, in the mileage per diems. And then we've also seen just regular increases in supplies and outreach as far as seminar, rooms and meals, all the stuff that is paid for by admin budget. So my recommendation, as of right now, I know we talked about this at the last workshop. My recommendation to the board is let's set the admin levy right now at 500,000, knowing that we can drop that back down to the 375 before December 17th. And the plan is also to have another budget workshop after October's meeting to discuss any final details with the admin. So that is my recommendation as of right now. Of course, the board can make any recommendation they want. We can say that at 375 if that's what you're comfortable with. Excuse me. But there is a few things that we're trying to get back as well from our insurance agent. And we can talk about that a little bit when we get to liability insurance. Any questions on the options for the 2025 admin levy?
The ops first.
Go ahead.
So on the reserve, I always, our past budget was 30,000. So I thought it was a certain percentage of the budget that we have to have in reserve. Is that just a minimum of 30? Okay. Answer that question again. This government budget stuff, I don't know what I got Freeborn County right here, and Freeborn County is are looking at 8.9 increase, and I don't know what Morrow County I've heard for. 4.99.
Yep,
Okay. So,
I actually cut budget.
so all I'm, federal government wants is that 2%. I was in here last week, talked about there maybe 33% increase for us. I guess the compromise would probably be 50% then here. But government's got to do its part too to hold costs down. Think, you know, in private business, you don't have any choice. You can go for a year or two, but otherwise you gotta balance the budget, so. So that's all my comments.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I would agree with Al. That's probably come up in the final decisions in December.
Yep, and just to note, again, I agree with that as well. But again, it's been 21 years since we've raised our admin budget. 21 years that we have not increased the percentage. And I agree that we do have to be fiscally responsible. You know, I think everybody's leaning to the 375. I don't have a problem with that. We can make it work. We've always been able to make it work. You know, where a lot of this is gonna come into play is in 2026 with the sales tax. We are right now assuming that the sales tax will run out sometime February, March of 2026. You know, if we don't work on getting that renewed and getting that renewed through the legislature and getting a vote on it by the citizens of Albert Lee, you know, then we'll probably have to make some changes. So we're trying to prepare and get us somewhat more in line. You know, if that scenario, one way or the other, happens or doesn't happen. So, you know, as we move forward here, you know, we'll have a better idea too of what we'll be looking at.
The perspective of when it comes time to renew that sales tax. If we as a district say we have the option of going up to 500, but we kept it as low as we could to be more fiscally responsible, would we anticipate that would help the taxpayers see us as being responsible, or what? How would that play into the politics of getting a sales tax?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of politics that go in. At first, we have to get approval through the city. So we gotta start there. I believe the city would, you know, look at it as being fiscally responsible. You know, with a bare minimum of, you know, just upping it 125,000 to 375. Again, you know, those talks are out a couple months yet, so we don't know those details. We'll know by December. Hopefully, we do. You know, and I think the public has seen that, you know, our big focus is grant dollars, bringing in grant dollars, and leveraging those grant dollars with the local option sales tax that we have currently. You know, you look at the millions of dollars we bring in through the Star Sands Outdoor Heritage Council, we couldn't do that if we didn't have those things. And we won't be able to do those projects. So, you know, I hope people see that, and that's what we need them to see. You know, if we expect it to be.
And yes, you do a very good job of bringing in a lot of grant dollars, helping us get more projects, leverage our resources. So very good job there.
One more comment, I guess. I'd like to see the 500,000 option available to discuss at a workshop. I don't know if we're having a workshop between now and.
Yeah, the idea is at next board meeting to have a budget workshop after the next board.
Okay. So, because we need to have that discussion too, because we're gonna get to that point, and like I say, if the sales tax is, you know, questionable or whatever, we've gotta come within budget then. Thank you.
Yep.
motion?
Sure, I'm looking for my recommendation is a motion to approve the 2025 preliminary admin levy. And certify the admin levy to Freeborn County in the amount of $500,000.
Do we have a motion? I'll make the motion. Second,
I'll second.
any other discussion?
I'm gonna vote yes on this today, but it's only for discussion in the future. So, it's where I'm sitting, so.
And this is preliminary, so
Right, correct.
we can drop it in December, which we probably will, but it is preliminary, so if anybody's watching out there, anything else, this is set in stone yet.
That sounds kind of political.
All over is people are watching.
All right. Other discussion?
I think that eventually that it has to get to 500 just because of what things are costing us. And I would predict that if we don't do it this year, we're probably gonna increase it another 125 next year, so. I understand that counties and cities are faced with huge budget increases. There are varied reasons for that. And I'm a government person. Not a wasteful person, and I think that a lot of the people that are involved in budgeting for the government do a great job of trying to hold the line and not waste taxpayers' money. So I just think that with this being at $250,000 for since when?
2003 since we were established.
That the present worth of that $250,000 is much less than the original $250,000. So I would support 500. But I will defer to the groups and see.
Comment, the part that the ag community is dealing with, we had a drought last year.
Yeah.
Everybody didn't use crop insurance in the county last year, but we've had 40 inches of rain in our area this year. And there's more people going to use the crop insurance option this year to survive. And then the revenue part of it, usually when you have a drought or less crop, if the prices go up, and actually they went down 25 to 30%. So the ag community is dealing with, you don't buy machinery, you don't buy any land, you just kind of hunker down and hang on. And that's what the attitude out there right now is, that, you can just break even, you're happy, you see. So that's what the ag community is dealing with.
Yep.
Which affects everybody else.
Right, yeah.
So there's two sides to it.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other discussion? Leah, call roll.
Manager Botkin,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Lee, Manager DeBoer.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item B is a motion to approve the 2025 debt service levy and certify the debt service levy to the Freeborn County Auditor Treasurer. The debt service levy, as of right now, is set at $178,625. Again, this was debt services for bond funds that we used for the dredge project, phase 1 and 2. As I said earlier, right now, this bond fund levy has 9 years left. Right now, we collect, again, like I said, $178,625. However, looking back in our pay schedule, we can actually drop this. Right now, our payback is set at $166,000. So again, what I'm looking for is a motion to set the debt service levy, preliminary debt service levy at the existing $178,625. But again, at at the workshop, we can discuss this again. In our final commitment to the county in December, knowing that we could drop that roughly 12,000.
Good, we have a motion. Second,
Yes.
any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same. Motion
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item C is a motion to approve the 2025 liability insurance levy and certify the liability levy to the Freeborn County Auditor Treasurer. If you look in the first packet that we gave you, the liability insurance that we had listed in 2024 was 20,800. We have reviewed with our insurance agent and the League of Minnesota Cities. It looks like we're gonna see an increase of roughly $11,000. So we're looking at increasing that liability fund levy to 31,100. Again, this is in relation to the League of Minnesota Cities increase to our liability insurance. One of the things that we are checking on with the liability insurance, one of the main reasons for the increase in cost was due to our size of our budget. If you look at our project budget, we're sitting at roughly 17.5 million. However, a lot of that is the bond funds that we don't have access to. They're not sitting in our bank account. So we are checking with the League of Minnesota Cities and with our insurance agent to see if that matters. Even though our project budget says 17.5 million, we actually don't have all that on hand. Those bond dollars are reimbursable, so we have to spend it first before we receive it. So we're checking on that again, so we don't know. That number could go down, but I'm looking for a motion to approve the 2025 preliminary liability insurance levy and certify the liabilities levy to Freeborn County Auditor at 31,100.
You have a motion?
Yes.
Second? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The item D is a motion to adopt the 2025 administrative budget. Or preliminary administrative budget, excuse me. So again, when you look at the admin budget, so we approved the option one, setting the admin levy at 500. You can see the corresponding budget that goes with the admin levy. Again, this can change on December 15th. But as of right now, I'm asking for a motion to approve draft option one at the $500,000 admin budget levy.
We have a motion. Second? Second. Any discussion?
I think I've discussed with Carmen and Andy a couple of times about, we have a $30,000 reserve every year, but I'd like to see another, administrative, long-term reserve. I think nowadays there's more legal action when it comes to some of the bid processes and stuff, and I don't think we have a reserve for that. Sometimes I don't want to know if I should bring up the project, but we have a fish barrier that we haven't resolved yet, and that's probably going to take some legal action. So we've got the carryover. Carmen's got the carryover at 87,300, and I'd like to see that, maybe some of that go to the long-term reserve, so that we have some reserves there to handle some of those things that come down the line. It's my suggestion. And that probably handled at a workshop too, or whatever.
Yep.
Any other discussions?
Aye.
Well, it's the same. Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item E. Make sure I'm not skipping anything. Item E is a motion to adopt the 2025 preliminary project fund budget. The project funding, I'm just gonna go through it a little bit here. So going into 2025. We have income as far as the local option sales tax estimated at 1.9 million. We have the bond fund levy at 178,625. We have the phase 9 LSOHC grant estimated at 424,800. We got phase 11 at $880,044. Phase 12 at $2,084,000. We have state bonding and dredging, we have $5,650,000. The rebate grant of 520, MGCA RAPS grant of 9,000, and the SARS grant 13 at $2,072,000. So we also have estimated carryover from 2023. Actually it'll be 2024 of $3,798,900 for a total income of $17,547,369. And just quickly going through where we're looking at spending these dollars. Item 100 is erosion and water control. This is projects like Panicum, prairie enhancement, our cost share programs, the SRRWD restoration, channel restoration. All of those projects are wrapped up in the erosion and water control. Looking at spending roughly $2,052,600. The next is the Bowser implementation grants. This is for the One Watershed One plan. We're looking at spending roughly $33,278. Moving on to the WEBIT funding. Item number 270. Again, this is a lot of the One Watershed One plan funds as well, including color tops, wells, street sweeping, subject upgrades, project development, education outreach. We're looking at $537,409. Item 400 is some watershed projects. This would include projects like work on Sanderson property, which are Headwaters project. So total funds looking to be spent 2025 is $643,500. Then we get to item 500, which is the dredging element. Hopefully, they are in the process of dredging in 2025. So we're looking at spending roughly $3,294,000. 600 is water monitoring. Again, this takes into consideration all of our water monitoring that we do within the district. Well, expenses look to be in 43,000. Moving on to reserves. Again, looking at project cap reserves of roughly $3,764,538. And then total cap reserves with grants, we're looking at roughly $6,886,000 for a total reserve at $10,625,582. So with the debt services expenses of $58,000, bond principal of $110,000, NPCA loan payment of $150,000, total debt service of $318,000. Total disbursements would be $17,547,369. Mr. Chair, I'm looking for a motion to approve the preliminary project budget for 2025.
We have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item F is a Minnesota watershed resolution for discussion. In front of you, you will see a sheet with some background information regarding the Minnesota watershed resolutions process. What I am proposing, again, and this is for discussion, We'll look for a vote on the actual resolution in October. To submit to Minnesota watersheds. But what we're looking at is actually putting a requirement on state agencies for a deadline to take final action on written permits that are requested from them. The way it sits right now, state agencies, including DNR, have 60 days to respond to permit applications. However, there is a clause for an out for state agencies in this deadline, that if a EAW is needed or multiple hearings are needed or an EIS is needed, there is no time. So it's basically an open book for DNR or any state agency to get you a permit. So as you know, we've seen massive delays in our permits that we've requested, especially for the dredge project. The first time, 18 months to 9 months for both our day of safety permit and for our DNR waters permit. You know, they can just, there is no set timeline for them to respond to your permits. So we're asking for a resolution to be brought to the legislature. So the way that works is we sort of draft how we want the resolution to read. We bring that to Minnesota watersheds, every organization. If Minnesota watersheds as an organization approves the resolution through the resolution process, then this will go on their list to their lobbyists to push this forward in the next legislative session. So this is kind of, I think, the idea for how the issue could be resolved. Minnesota statute requires, again, state agencies have 60-day deadline to take final action on written permit requests, except the statute includes an application requiring one or more hearings or an environmental impact statement or environmental assessment worksheet. No other statutory timeframe is required in the later situation. The SRRWD watershed district seeks to support and is requesting implementation of a similar 60-day review deadline when the request is made by another political subdivision or government unit, specifically including watershed districts, whereby the state agencies must issue a permit within 60 days after a public hearing, issuance of a negative declaration of the need for an EIS, or a final decision on the environmental impact statement. So these are all processes that the board goes through prior to the permit being applied for. So we go through the EAW because we are told that we're required that we need an EAW. So then we go and the board votes on a negative declaration, which says that there is no major impacts and that an EIS is not needed. What this is saying is after that has been done, that should then put the DNR on a 60-day time frame to review your permit and get action taken regarding it. So any discussion, let's just start with discussion again. I'm not asking for approval on this. I just want to have some general discussion with the board. As you can see, the resolution, there's more of it on the back. But that is sort of the nuts and bolts of the resolution that I would like to see this board take action on and submit to Minnesota watersheds. What I can tell you is I already have support from at least one other watershed district that really likes this. They're having some of the same issues that we're having, just different aspect. So I do have other watersheds that I believe will sign on to this resolution with us at Minnesota watersheds. But let's just stop there. Is there any comments from the board managers?
Yes, I'm on the resolutions committee for Minnesota watershed, so on the committee that reviews all these. In a given year, I think we usually have about 12 to 15 resolutions that we forward at the annual conference and then hand off to our lobbyists. Made a big change over the last couple of years with we had a lobbyist for Minnesota watershed, or previously MAWA for many years. Last year, a new lobbying company started and they worked tandem side by side for the first year, and now that new lobbying company will be full-time or be our dedicated lobbyist. Where the resolutions committee, we're looking at whittling down that list of like 15 resolutions per year to like 2, 3, 4 resolutions that they're gonna concentrate on rather than having this shotgun approach. So being on the resolutions committee, my recommendation is that we look at this and consider, okay, how will it impact both rural and urban watersheds? Because if you don't get both of them on, it's very unlikely that that resolution will make the last few around the 1 forward. Also looking at the watersheds that have a really good working relationship with the DNR, don't like resolutions that could potentially throw a burr in the saddle of their relationship with the DNR, but then that also means that, well, where does that leave us as a district that doesn't have that good relationship with that? So just a couple of things for us to think about as a board. How do we make this as easy for as many watersheds around the state to sign on to, so it would make it to final group of resolutions before it doesn't make that final list. It's time spent talking about it, so.
Good points, Brad. Does 15.992 affect counties and municipalities as well as the state?
That's a good question. I don't know that I know that. It does, yeah.
So that paragraph, whereas under Minnesota state agencies, it should possibly be clarified. I deal with the 60-day rule, or my people do. And I have not seen there's anything wrong. Do you make up your mind in 60 days? And when are you gonna? And sometimes there's circumstances that make that 60-day real difficult as well. I just don't wanna put undue pressure on the city of Alberta or Austin or Moore County or Fremont County to get something done within that time frame.
15.992, the state agency to decide.
Just state.
Yes, but what we have said is broadly, if you're a political subdivision or another governmental entity, since you have.
You're saying that entity to entity only, not public to.
So you, as a local government, could still say, yes, we need our permit within 60 days, state.
But which isn't really fair either, because if Al applies for a permit through DNR, he's not an agency. He's a private citizen, so I haven't heard back either yet. Yeah, so that's a prerequisite saddle right there too.
The difference is though, is understand the process that the watershed district has gone through. So we have
Sure.
2-year plans that have been reviewed by Bowser and other state agencies, and we set our priorities and all of our projects are coming all out of all of this background. And so again, you've got a little bit of an up to say, hey, we're all on the same page here for preserving our natural resources. Let's move this process along for more.
I like
We run into funding problems.
Yeah, I like that as an option too. Difference in watershed districts between urban and rural, I think it's up in Minneapolis, you can't even see the boundaries are, but there's. And they're very different than we are in the metro area, obviously. So
But they all still have to do EA documents.
I think it's worth discussing.
Oh, absolutely. All right, any other questions?
Should I maybe reach out to a few other members of the committee I'm on to see what other potential resolutions may be coming down the pipeline that we might wanna collaborate with for better opportunity of this being one of the final resolutions as we pass it later?
You sure can. I'm already working with a couple, for sure one. And they're out of the Red River, so that's totally different region. They're still a rural watershed district. I don't know You know, I can check with some of my metro administrators and see, you know, how they're dealing with some of these aspects when EAW is needed. But yeah, you definitely want to talk with people about what we're looking at, absolutely. Good. All right, item G is Fault Lake Restoration, East Main Bay and Bancroft Bay, dredge project. Again, I will let you know, this is again why I'm looking at the resolution we just talked about. We submitted our permit, in late May. We still have not even received a document back that says our permit application is complete. They keep requesting, water monitoring data. We finally told them in last week's meeting, you have everything that we believe you need to make your decision. One of the frustrating things, and where there's two areas, again, we're getting held up, landings terminal. And water quality monitoring data. So we've given them, I can't even imagine how many megabits of data regarding our water monitoring data. And what they're saying is they want us to provide them the data so they can send it to the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency and rerun our data. I don't know if it's because they think we're lying to them or that we're shady people down here in the Shell Rock River Watershed District. But all that data and all those models that were ran were by certified engineers, signed off on by certified engineers. The other thing that they are saying is, if you remember, we went above and beyond and did Del 3D. Again, Del 3D is a model that actually came from overseas. It takes a much bigger deep dive into all of the mechanics of the water monitoring, the soils, dissolved oxygen. It takes all this into consideration. So it is a much more complex and thorough model compared to Flux 32 or Bathtub. The problem and the reason they don't want to look at it, I believe, is because PCA cannot run the model. Which I think is quite ludicrous. I think it's ridiculous. Again, that model was ran by professional engineers. It was signed off on by professional engineers. So we will be, again, you also see a letter that I would like to send to all of the DNR that are involved in this process, including the commissioner of the DNR. I believe we're gonna get there. It's just how long is it gonna take? And I am pushing, our engineers are pushing. The last meeting we had was sort of a meeting that we really pushed hard and said, this is crazy. You have as much information as we have. We feel that we are meeting every state statute within the rules to move forward with our project. But again, they've said numerous times to me that, well, if you split out Bancroft Bay, we'll give you the permit to do East Main Bay. And I don't like that. I think as soon as we split Bancroft Bay out of the entire permit, we're gonna just keep going down this rabbit hole of what the DNR and probably never get anywhere with Bancroft. So I am, as of right now, telling them that it's not an option. I said, we feel that we have given you all the information you need, we've given you all the state statutes, all the rules. Please make a determination on our. We were supposed to have a meeting tomorrow, however, they have decided to cancel that meeting. They are having a internal meeting with all their department heads. So hopefully in the next week or two, we will get some direction on where we are at with our permit. Hopefully our permit is considered complete. But again, because of the process we went through, there is no timeline for them to get back to us from the permit. So again, they can hold it for a year and there's no statutory authority for them to give us a permit. Hence the resolution that I brought to you earlier. So that's where we're at. Any questions? You know, we have not as staff, when negotiating this permit, have not changed any of the dredge prisms. Everything is still the same as it was since the day we met with the landowners out there. However, some things that have changed, you know, we have compromised in a couple areas, including the Blandings turtle. We told them that we would have a on-site turtle viewer looking for turtles. We've told them that we will have a mitigation plan for vegetation and habitat. If we dredge in Bancroft Bay and we don't see a response from habitat or vegetation coming back. So we have given in certain areas, but we have not given when it comes to what we're looking at as far as physically our footprint in dredging.
Are any of these meetings, are they in person or are they Zoom? How do you communicate?
So right now, they've all been Zoom. I do have a meeting, myself, Julie Blackburn, and Jan Boat, administrator or director of the Sun Watersheds. We are meeting with the head of DNR Public Waters permit on the 24th, I think. It's a Thursday. That meeting is in person, somewhere in the South Metro. I don't think we've got a location set yet. But that is going to be a meeting that we have here. Not this week, following week.
You just remember way back before we started, we had a meeting with some of the board and then with the DNR. Seems like that has a different feel to it. Yeah, has a personal touch, so we can use more of that every year.
Well, and maybe that's the route. I mean, Dan, what you're talking about, the meetings we had were when we bypassed our region DNR and we went straight to the commissioner's office. And we did that through, at that time, Bennett and Sparks, through the legislative liaison with the DNR. And we negotiated right there with the commissioner and deputy commissioner. And that's how we got the permit. Now, I don't like doing it that way because I have to work with our regional DNR staff. Our local DNR staff, Craig Sapir and Janine have been really good to work with. I think they're supportive of the project the way we have it now, where we have these mitigation steps in there. I believe that they're supportive. I think it's the New Ulm area that we're struggling with, trying to get them to make a decision. So the other talks, the Blandings turtle, of course, we had a lot of discussion on it last week. Kind of felt like I was a fifth grader, again, getting educated about what a Blandings turtle is. All this stuff from one of the experts with the DNR, and had nothing really to do with the permit. We have the same mitigation plans in place as we did when we did phase 1 and 2 of the dredge project. Which actually had Blandings turtle sightings closer to than we do in Bancroft. So I don't know why they're dying on this hill. But again, I think we have all of the data in hand to show them again, here's our mitigation plan. The mitigation plan was actually is directed by the Minnesota DNR on how to mitigate for projects within areas of the binding circle, so we're meeting their rules, their requirements. Again, it's a very frustrating process. And I think we'll get there. You know, we're gonna put a pretty big request, I'm trying to remember if we put it in a letter. We keep telling them that we would like a decision on our permit by November. That's when we would like to get the project out for bid. We're dredging in spring 5. We are gonna keep pushing that timeline with them. And like I said, they canceled the meeting we had for tomorrow. They're gonna have an internal meeting with the higher ups, and we'll see what comes out of that. I've also been in touch with both Representative Bennett and Senator Dornick. I've assisted them, staff and staff, we've assisted them with a outline of a letter that we've asked them to send to all parties involved with the DNR. I know the citizens have come through quite well. They keep bringing up that all the letters and calls that they've received. They think the only reason we're doing it is for recreation, which yes, is a component of this. Where people would actually be able to get a pontoon out of Bancroft Bay. But again, the biggest reason is for water quality. It is the highest concentration of sediment in Bancroft Bay of the whole lake. And that is our son. That's what it says in our one watershed one plan. That's what was stated in our TMDL and the Shell River Watersheds Management. So again, as Steph has said, all of these things are in our plans. These plans have been reviewed by Bowser, DNR, PCA. They've been commented on by all these agencies. We're not doing anything that they did not know or not, that we were doing. So that's the update. Any other questions on that?
Just a quick comment for where the public is telling the DNR about they want recreation opportunities, and that's the outcome for all, you know, clean water, good habitat, that leads to fishing, that leads to being able to boat and go swimming without algae blooms and stuff like that. So that's the outcome that residents see. So the DNR should be used to seeing the public's view of the project is gonna be recreation for most parts. Even though our technical, like when we're looking at it, the habitat and the water quality, that's our focus. I guess I put together a letter that I forwarded you that was my personal viewpoint. I didn't forward it, I just wanted to get your input on it. The last thing I want to do as a manager is, you know, lob a hand grenade in just before a good outcome is expected, so. I support this letter and just wanted to get the board's feel. Should us as individuals consider sending letters, being very careful that we're not as individuals speaking for the rest of the board, or would you as board managers just want one letter and that represents all our views?
So this letter went to August 8th.
No, it hasn't gone out yet, correctly. No, I believe I had mixed signs.
Oh, wow.
The last.
Only comment I have is in bolded text. In a professional letter. Some of my staff does it, I don't like it. It's like, can't you read? Duh. It's, you know, it's like to the reader, it's like almost like insult when you have bolded text. But that's my own opinion. You can take that for what it's worth, which is probably nothing.
And I would say I'm on the opposite end. I like to go look at a letter and just get the high points quick. It helps me to, when I'm reviewing technical documents, to get through it quickly, especially when I've read it once in depth and not reviewed, so I'm just trying to pull out the key points. That's just my. Okay.
All right, any other comments?
Oh, one more.
All right, perfect.
I'd say if we don't have something done in October, November, let's do upfront and personal after that, so.
Okay.
You know, pick a team and head out.
Sounds good. All right, item H is confined disposal facility, clean out update. Again, this is the clean out of CDF cell one. As you remember, it started off a little slow just with all the rain we had this spring. The contractor is in there. They're actually, moving quite a bit of material. One thing that we are finding is that, stacking that material, it comes out of the cell pretty nice. Once you get it out of the cell and get it stockpiled, it kind of swells up. And it's full of a lot of moisture. The moisture is not necessarily coming out of there readily. So we like these days like today where there's some wind, lower humidity and some heat to help dry that material. However, just to give you an update, we probably will be looking at a small change order. So the change order, we're looking at to run about 600 feet of 24-inch dual wall tile. The location for this is on the west side of the cell one. And this tile will be ran pretty much up to, but not into the road ditch. There's a small waterway that goes through there now. We will actually be converting that waterway through this tile. We'll actually hook up into the 34-inch tile that we placed when we built cell one. And this will let us have some more room to evenly distribute fill across those. We're looking at a price on a change order of 18 to 20,000. So it is within the range that I can approve, but I want to give you an update on that. So that is a potential change order to give them more room. We are looking right now, having our engineers look at how much more airspace that gives us for material to be placed. I'm trying to also look at that solid piece, how much airspace we have over there. If we do start running short on locations for material, but otherwise it's going good, a lot better than how they started. We feel that they're moving anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 yards a day. So right now that we're projected, Mr. Sorensen is projected on that if they could keep that up, they should be done sometime mid-December. So
A lot better than.
yes.
Better than burying a machine.
Any other questions on that?
One more comment, I guess, with harvest coming and stuff, there's other acres available to put some of this material on. And I don't know if there's any option to do that, you know, with silt barriers and all that, but we need to look at that ahead of time, because usually October is a pretty dry month, so you can get it, maybe they can during that month move it farther away or something, and then have the close by for the finish or whatever. Just need to keep that optional. Thank you.
So. All right, item I, last thing I have, sorry, I know it's a lot of discussion here. Item I is a country club sale update. We have been working with Johnson and Smith to finalize the survey. One of the main things we're trying to make sure we have correct is the wetland bank portion of the projects. We want to make sure that the survey matches the survey the state has for the wetland bank. And then we also included 20-foot buffer for maintenance of that wetland bank. So we do have, I believe, a draft of that. And that should be getting finalized here in the next week and a half. So again, looking at closing on that property here in the near future. So with that, Mr. Chair, if there's no questions on the country club, that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Andy. Number 9, manager's item.
Yeah, go ahead, you go. Alright, anyway, I went
No, I mean,
to,
one of a, you have a question?
Sorry, I just was wondering if you guys had any update on the CPs or
okay, well, I attended the county commissioners meeting on the 20th of August, and they had the public hearing on the petition for a project out on 55. And I thought Courtney and Andy did a good job explaining what's going on with out there in that, where they want to put the water in out in Grass Lake. But for the county board wanted more information, they wanted more modeling. So it got pushed off, they get the modeling done like within 2 weeks. Or they could have had the public hearing on the 17th again to figure out what they're gonna do. But the representative from Ricky Newton couldn't be there, so it's been pushed off to October 1st. Hopefully they'll have a decision on October 1st. This is a good project. I think it's gonna benefit farmers. You're gonna take water out of that system. Put it there, it'd be good for wildlife, it'd be good for the farmers, hopefully. After they get this other rest of this modeling, and we've done the modeling water, yeah, it should. No. But you gotta wait till the first to find out. I don't know if Andy wants to add anything.
Yep, so the modeling was completed by Bailey at ISG, and she sent it off to Steve Pinkava, who is the county's engineer who reviews. And he received it last week and would let us know if he had any other comments, and I haven't heard any, so. I think all of this is moving along in that. We are looking to potentially award a contractor at our October meeting following the county approval. The Panicum Prairie Enhancement Project.
Any other items? Okay.
Yes, your comment regarding the street sweeping study, we met with Bar last week and asked about an update, and you should be receiving one shortly. As far as they know, it's been moving along on their end quite well, we just haven't been receiving check-in, so. Jan was gonna connect with Michael and give us any response. I actually don't know.
Any other items?
Good job working with the SWCD, it's putting together the cover crop event over in Unionbury. Well, it's well attended,
Yep,
great information.
the Shell Rock River Watershed District is a partner of the Freeborn Area Soil Health Team, and we worked with producers in the area who have cover crop application type equipment, including drones and like seeder. There's actually a rotary hoe that they have modified into using for cover crop application, and so there's roughly about like 85 attendees roughly, and I think it was a good mix of farmers. You know, some of those events you get a lot of agency folks attending, but this one was a lot of producer implemented. Yeah, so it was a good turnout. We had a beautiful day for it. It's always good to showcase some of that cover crop equipment, and then we have funding sources available. So that was also, we had a handout that showed different types of sources of funding for cover crop implementation.
I'll make one more comment. We've actually, our family's developed a cover crop machine here. It's air supply. It's in Sulphur, 40-foot vertical tillage. We can pull it at 10, 12 miles an hour, so we can do 30, 40 acres per hour cover crops. So
you're saying you want to sign up for a demonstration day?
well, I'm just saying that at the time I get it hooked up and run over a couple hundred acres in a few hours, it's over with to get to the next year.
For lunch.
Yeah, so, but it works good. I mean, different cover crops do, so like it.
Any other items? Item number 10, upcoming meetings. Next meeting will be October 8th, followed by a workshop, correct? that, we have a motion to adjourn. Second,
Second.
meeting adjourned.